One of the best arguments I can think of against privatized healthcare is the Canadian Blood Services Agency. For years, they have totally refused to accept blood donations from any man who has had sex with another man since the 1970s, all because of the stereotype that gay men are all AIDS carriers. For reasons that I will never totally understand, this decision has been held up in the Ontario High Courts, but believe me, this ain't over yet. The reason I say I will never understand this attitude is because I've actually seen the medical studies that Canadian Blood Services and various Christian fundamentalist groups use to justify this total discrimination. The study claims that as of a few years ago, 1 in 5 gay men had HIV or AIDS. First of all, think about that number for a moment. 1 in 5. That's 20% of the population, according to the study. I can't speak for how large of a sample size was used, but if this really is accurate, then 80% of gay men don't have this disease. So right off the bat, we have the thesis of these vampiric bigots destroyed by a simple act of arithmetic. This alone should have thrown their asses out in a sling, but no! The second thing is that I've never seen the study truly get to the bottom of the infection rates, excuse the pun. In other words, to the best of my knowledge, it doesn't determine if the men who were infected got that way by never practicing safe sex or having multiple partners, or from intravenous drug use, or a combination of the above. And the last I checked, that's dangerous for anyone in the population. I know for a fact, though, that people claiming gay men are a high risk for HIV transmission conveniently forget that in actuality the highest risk group is straight women in their late teens to mid-20s. That, incidentally, is a fact available in any real study done in the last 5 to 10 years, yet I've never heard of it being used to block young women from donating blood. The third and final thing. I thought that all these blood banks tested their donations for disease anyway, so what the heck is the problem with just taking a sample from a healthy-looking donor and then sending it to the lab along with every other sample? Is the private corporation just looking for an excuse to do less work? Oh no, a corporation would never worry about their costs above all else. The simple fact is, every blood bank in the country claims that there is a major shortage. So if they are fully capable of just accepting donations from anyone and then testing scientifically to see if they're actually clean, it makes absolutely no sense to not just do that. It also makes little sense for them to use just blatant ignorance as their excuse. Their statistics alone are so feeble that a high school freshman could poke holes in them. It also makes absolutely no sense for the Ontario courts to claim that a private corporation that is supposedly serving the public at large has no obligation to follow our Constitution. So if you agree with me on this, feel free to contact Ontario Minister of Health Deb Matthews. Her email address is dmatthews, all one word, .mpp.co@liberal.ola.org. For fuck's sake. And her phone number is 519-432-7339. That's it for me.